So this is a particularly heart-wrenching story that you guys are dealing with here. One of the, kind of the lost, forgotten sort of tragedies of Europe. Really kind of brushed aside. What got you guys involved in the project?
Wow, I mean, well, for me, the script was, when I read it, I didn't understand how I didn't know more about this, and of talking to my friends, people didn't know about this, and it was kind of so heartbreaking, the script, and I didn't understand how it was sort of covered up for so many years, and also the character I loved, because I think she's, she goes through kind of all the extreme highs and lows of a character, and that was a real exciting challenge for me, so definitely, the script was what drew me to it, yeah.
I met with George, our director, for lunch, and sort of I thought that I knew most major events of European history, and then I spoke to him for a couple of hours and found out that Ukraine, which is basically the second largest country in Europe, had gone through this traumatic period, and I'm ashamed to realize I knew nothing about it, and did a little more exploration into it and was just blown away, yeah.
Well, you guys also have a great chemistry that's really intimate, and there's a lot of really tangible moments that happens. How did you guys build that great chemistry on screen?
I think because of the way the film is, we are split for most of the film. So actually for me, I always found at the end of a big shooting day, I'd come back and meet you in the makeup trailer or something, and we'd be like, what were you doing? And I was telling what I did, and it kind of felt very much like we were split apart. And so it was like I was always trying to find out what happened. And so for me, when I got to see the movie for the first time, it was so exciting to get to see all of Max's stuff, because that's all stuff that obviously I don't see because I'm not in. So it kind of was, it was like a married couple at the end of the day.
And also chemistry, it's such an intangible sort of thing. It's very hard to understand if you have it or you don't. You just hope that you communicate and listen to each other, and hopefully it comes across on screen, and I think it did.
Yeah,
I hope it did.
I hope so.
So you guys talked about how the Ukrainian famine is particularly brutal in history. How did you guys make such a bleak background so emotionally palpable for audiences?
Blimey. Well, we were filming in Ukraine, which is always a good start. We had a great Ukrainian crew. We had a Ukrainian director, so there was a lot of goodwill to tell the story accurately and correctly, and present it, not to beautify it, to tell it as it was, which I think was the way we did it was nice, because it not only told the story of the Holodomor, but also showed the human condition and the enduring human spirit under those sorts of conditions. So hopefully, even though the backdrop to our film is incredibly bleak, I hope that, in fact, there's a little bit of hope in there mixed in as well.
Well, with Russia's recent actions, there seems to be quite a parallel in today's sort of occurrences around the world and what seems to be happening here of Russia's sort of boot on Ukraine. So with the recent actions in Crimea, how was it working in Ukraine? Was it was the geopolitics something you really felt while you guys were there? Because it seemed pretty...
Yeah, I think
similar.
It was a very sort of upsetting time for everybody the time we were there, and we got very close to the crew, and they would sort of talk about how horrible it is for them, and they'd talk about the Holodomor and their their family, people who knew their family who'd been through it, and you definitely pick up on that. It's very sad. It's been they've had a lot of horrible things that have happened to them, so it's really sad to be there. But why it felt important to be a part of this film, to be able to sort of share that story, I think.
The revolution was sort of kicking off as we were just leaving.
Right.
And, you take a cursory glance at Ukrainian history, and it is mind-numbingly complicated.
Right, yeah.
But the one thing that you hear from the people on the ground, and you also hear from every news source and angle at which one can come at this story from, you see how divided Ukraine is.
Right.
Sort of politically, economically, linguistically, religiously, and it has been for hundreds and hundreds of years. So it's a very, very complicated, nuanced problem. And the problems we're seeing today with the Crimea, as you say, with the same problems that led to what happened in 1932 and 1933. And depending on which side of the fence you're sitting on, you see the problem in a completely different light. So.